Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
G'day mate, welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Root and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, we're going to be going through my latest draft. So this is going to be probably pretty close to my final draft. So definitely watch this one, as I have made a few changes as to my previous draft. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe. I do release at least 3 videos every single week giving you the best FPL tips, and leave a comment below on what you think of my team. Let's get into it with the goalkeepers. So I have gone for a double up on both Brentford goalkeepers. So 4.5 million Flecken is going to be my main goalkeeper. It was a tough one to go for, as I originally did have 4.5 million goalkeepers. I had 2 of them. I had Areola and I had Flecken. But for me, I don't really want to go through that stress of having to make sure I pick the right goalkeeper, be annoyed if one of my goalkeepers on the bench does well or does better than my starting goalkeeper. So I decided to just start the season with Flecken. Like I said, 4.5 million. Last season he started 37 games. He ended up getting an assist as well, but only 7 clean sheets, which is a bit worrying. But I think Brentford did have a lot of injuries last season, and I do fancy them to do much better this season. He's just over 14% owned, so not a lot of people are going for him. He starts the season with Palace at home, which is a good fixture, then Liverpool away, then Southampton at home, but then a tough couple games of City away and Spurs away. So not the best starting fixtures for Flecken, but I think with the 2 home games against Palace and against Southampton, and a lot of save points and then 3 away games, it could be a nice way to rack up the save points. I've also gone for his, a sub goalkeeper basically from Brentford. So they're one of the only teams that only has 2 goalkeepers on their, I guess, FPL books. But it's Valdimarsson. So yeah, 4 million, under 3% owned. He's not going to play, but he's a good player to have on the bench just in case Flecken doesn't play. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think the fixtures are a little bit too tough for Brentford to start off with? Yeah, I'd like to know your opinion. So without further ado, let's move on to the defence. So for the defence, I have gone heavy on the 4.5 million defenders, and I don't have anyone that is above that, to be honest with you. So it is a bit risky going so light on a defence, but I think there are so many decent 4.5 million defenders that I think I'll just about get away with it. I'm starting off with Konza, so he is obviously 4.5 million, just over 16% owned. Last season he started 35 games, so he's pretty much nailed in that Villa team. 1 goal, 1 assist is not the best, but although Villa didn't keep that many clean sheets last season, Konza got 7. I do think this season they're going to have a better year, and they start the season with okay fixtures. So West Ham away, Arsenal at home is not the best, but then they've got Leicester away, Everton at home, Wolves at home, and then Ipswich away. So really good game week 3 to game week 6 for Aston Villa, and that's why I decided to go for someone like Konza. Anderson for Palace is up next, again 4.5 million. He's just over 22% owned, so much more popular than someone like Konza. Anderson has been very attacking over the last 3-4 years. He's been in the Prem. A goal, assist in his first season, 4 assists in his second season, only a goal in his third season. But then last season he did score 2 and get 3 assists in 38 games. He was one of the only players to actually play and start 38 games, which was which is what you want from your FPL team, really. Clean sheet wise, 10 clean sheets for Palace, which again is pretty decent for a team of their level, and I think they're going to have a better year this season. Fixtures wise, Brentford away, West Ham at home, Chelsea away, not the best but not the worst. Then they've got Leicester at home, Man United at home, Everton away, so it does get a little bit better for Palace. And I think the fact that Anderson is pretty attacking, and the fact that his kind of decent fixtures are game weeks 1 and 2, where Konza's are game weeks 3 to 6, I think that does work out a little bit better for that rotation, which is what I'm going to do with the defence. Next up, I've got Anthony Robinson, so 6% owned he is, which is, I think he should be more, to be honest with you. He's 4.5 million, and he had a really good season last season. Started 37 games, got 6 assists and 9 clean sheets. And I think Fulham are going to have a good year, to be honest with you. They've got Man United away first up, then they've got Leicester at home, Ipswich away, West Ham at home, and Newcastle at home. They've also got Forest away in game week 6, so really, really good start for Fulham in terms of fixture wise. Next up is Dan Burn, so he's 4.5 million as well. He does come in at just over 20% owned, so a lot more people are looking at him. I think it's because of his price. People like Trippier are probably just a little bit too expensive for that coverage, and even Fabian Schär is that little bit too expensive to cover that Newcastle defence. Last season he started 32 games. He's pretty much nailed on, I feel like. 2 goals, 2 assists for him last season, and 8 clean sheets for him. Obviously, not as, I guess, good as Newcastle were the season before, where Dan Burn himself did keep 14 clean sheets. But I think the fact that they were in the Champions League did affect them a little bit, and they did have a lot of injuries. And I think this season is going to be a much better season for Newcastle, and especially with their first 2 games, I think having Newcastle cover throughout the team is going to be crucial. Southampton at home first game, Bournemouth away second game. Then they've got Spurs at home, Wolves away, Fulham away. So really, really nice start. They've got Spurs, which is going to be tough, but even the other 2 games are not too bad. And I think Dan Burn at 4.5 million is a really nice player to have. Also, I've got Taylor Harwood-Bells. I know a lot of people own him that watch this video. So he's just over 13% owned. He's 4 million. He is going to start for Southampton. He is an aerial threat as well if I ever do need him to play. But for me, he's just going to sit on the bench. I've got 4 decent defenders there that can play. I only be playing 3 at a time. That's the formation I'm going to be playing. So I'm not too worried about him, but still a very good option to have off the bench if needed. So now onto the midfield, and I've gone for Leon Bailey at 6.5 million, just over 4% owned, so still a massive differential. 10 goals, 11 assists for him last season and only 22 starts, which is incredible. And for me, his minutes is only going to go higher and higher and higher now that someone like Musa Diaby has left Aston Villa, and Leon Bailey has shown he can be a consistent player in that team. For me, Villa's fixtures are actually not the best, to be honest with you. West Ham away, Arsenal at home, Leicester away, Everton at home, Wolves at home, Ipswich away. So they do start to get better from game week 3, but the first 2, West Ham away, Arsenal at home, it's not ideal. But after that, Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich do look very good for Aston Villa, and I feel like Leon Bailey is going to have a really good season. And even last season, 10 goals, 11 assists in 22 starts is very good. Next to him, I've got Eze at 7 million, 33% owned. So this one's a tough one because there are rumours of him now leaving and going to Manchester City. That is not confirmed by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that doesn't make him an as good option, to be totally honest with you. I think at Man City he wouldn't be on set pieces as much, and he wouldn't be on pens. So the fact that I've got him now in my team means that it's only if he stays at Palace. And if he does stay at Palace, he does have set pieces, he does have corners, he does have free kicks, he does have pens. And for me, that does make him a very good option at 7 million. 24 starts last season, 11 goals, 5 assists. Even the season before that, 30 starts, 10 goals, 5 assists. So he has been very consistent the last 2 seasons. And for 7 million, I think he can be an absolute steal if he stays at Crystal Palace. Brentford away, West Ham at home, Chelsea away, Leicester at home, Man United at home, Everton away. So really nice start for Palace, and they did look very good under Glasner towards the end of last season, and I think they are going to have a very good season. Next up, we'll talk about Harry Winks. So he's going to be on the bench for most of the time, but the reason I've gone for him rather than any other 4.5 million midfielder is the fact that he does take some corners. It's not very much, but he's going to be nailed. He's going to take some corners, and for me, that's enough for my 4.5 million defender. He's just over 11% owned, so a lot of people are probably thinking the same as me. Fixtures are, not great, but not great to be honest. Spurs at home, Fulham away, Villa at home, Palace away, Everton and Arsenal. But for me, if I'm going to have to play Harry Winks, then my team's in trouble, to be totally honest with you. And for that reason, I will move on swiftly. Mo Salah's in the team as well. A lot of people probably can't afford Mo Salah, or have decided to not go for Mo Salah and maybe field a more balanced team. For me, I think the first couple fixtures you're going to want Mo Salah in your team, and I think just by having him in your team for the first two fixtures could kind of elevate you to start climbing the ranks very, very early and hopefully stay there. 12.5 million he is, just over 35% owned. Last season wasn't his best year, but he still ended up with 30 goal returns, 18 goals, 12 assists, and he only started 28 games, which for me is an incredible return. But like I said, his fixtures are why I got him in the team. Ipswich away, Brentford at home, Man United away, Forest at home, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Palace away. So some very, very nice fixtures in there, especially Ipswich, Forest and Bournemouth in the first five. And for me, their fixtures are just too good to not have him in your team. I know he's a lot of money. I know there's a bit of uncertainty with the new manager. But for me, Mo Salah is Mo Salah. He's going to be on pens, going to be scoring goals. For me, he's in my team, no matter what, to be honest with you. Next up, we've got Heung-min Son. So this was a tough decision. I didn't actually have him in my last draft. But at 10 million, he's going to be on pens for Spurs unless they do buy a striker, maybe a Tony or Solanke. He's just over 11% owned. For me, again, it's the fixtures. I just want a Spurs player for them first two fixtures, I'd say. And I think Son is the best player to go for. Even though he is 10 million, I think the fact that he's the captain, he's probably going to be on pens. If Spurs don't buy a striker, he's probably going to be playing up front. For me, that's enough to warrant having him in the team. Leicester away, Everton at home the first two. Then they do have Newcastle away and Arsenal at home, so not the best. But for me, even in them games, we know Son can deliver in the top games where he does play off the shoulder. He plays on the last man and he gets in behind. So it doesn't make him a bad option for me personally. Last season, 34 starts, 17 goals, 10 assists, which you kind of forget how well he actually did do last season because it kind of all came, I guess, towards the start of the season. But yeah, he had a very, very good season. In that season, he did get Golden Boot. It was only 5 less goals and the same amount of assists. So for me, I do like Son as an option. It's just a little bit too expensive. Will that mean that I don't have him at the beginning of the season and start the game week 1 with him? I'm not 100% sold on it, to be honest. I do really like him, and for now he's in my team, but there is always an argument to potentially downgrade Son and upgrade some other positions. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we'll move on to the forwards. So we've got João Pedro up next, who is in my team. He was injured, but he did come back to training on the 1st of August, and at 5.5 million, I think he can be an absolute bargain if he is fit enough to start the season. He did end up going on Brighton's pre-season tour, which is a little bit worrying, but hopefully we can see him play a game or two before the start of the season, and means he is first choice. Last season was he started well, 19 starts in total, 9 goals, 3 assists. But I think the key factor for him is he's only 5.5 million and he's on pens. The fixtures for Brighton are not amazing, to be honest with you, but like I said, 5.5 million on pens for Brighton, who have been an attacking team and I think will continue to be an attacking team. Obviously, they do have a new manager now. De Zerbi did end up leaving, but Everton away, Man United at home, Arsenal away is not the best, to be honest with you. We know Everton are strong defensively. Man United, who knows, but Arsenal away is going to be tough. But then they've got Ipswich at home, Forest at home. And for me, that coupled up with the fact that he's so cheap and he's on pens means he's in my team for now. But again, he is not a lock by one stretch of the imagination. I am thinking of someone like Chris Wood instead, or even downgrading Son and maybe upgrading João Pedro to a Watkins or something like that. But for now, he's in the team. And next up, we've got Erling Haaland, 15 million, which is still shocking to say, to be honest with you. 42% owned, so not as high as we'd seen over the last few years, so it is putting off a few people. 29 starts, 27 goals, 6 assists, 8 assists actually, so still a very, very good performance last season, considering he did get 9 less goals and 1 less assist, but still a very good season considering as well he only started 29. For me, it's more this is probably a wrong way of looking at it, but it's more the fact that how am I going to get Haaland into my team if I don't start the season with him? How am I going to... I'm not going to leave the money in the bank, and who... I'm going to have to probably take out a Salah or Son or Palmer to do that and make 2 moves. For me, it's just not worth that hassle. Chelsea away first up, which who knows if that's going to be a tough game or an easy game. Then they've got Ipswich at home, which is a very good fixture. West Ham away, Brentford at home. So a very, very good start for Haaland and some very, very good fixtures. Next up, we've got Alexander Isak, who's an absolute lock in my team. 8.5 million, 55% owned, so a lot of people are thinking the same. 27 starts for Isak, 21 goals, 4 assists, so if he does start, he does return. The thing with him though is I have to start the season with him. Don't get me wrong, with Southampton at home, Bournemouth away in the first 2. It's just, if Wilson does start as well, then he'll be off pens, and he'll probably be playing from the left, which is annoying, but can you trust Wilson to stay fit? Probably not, and I think Isak's going to start either way, to be honest with you. So that's the reason I'm starting with him. Next up, though, I just want to talk about how my team is actually looking for game week 1 and let you know how I'm going to be lining up. So for this game week 1 lineup, I have decided to put my team in the Fantasy Football Hub AI team rater. So I ended up getting 92% team rating, which I'm pretty happy with. A lot of the players that are playing now are the ones that are going to be expected to score the most points, and the captaincy armband is on Salah with that Ipswich away game. Robertson, albeit a more attacking option than someone like Anderson or Konza, I think the fact that he's playing Man United away just does mean that he does end up on the bench on the first game, but there is an argument to say Robertson should be starting instead of Konza or Anderson. Midfield, there's no way Harry Winks is going to get in there, and then up front, again, really, really solid. So I'm more than happy with this team. It's only an 88% for game week rating though, so it's not the absolute best, but team rating 92%, I am more than happy with that. If you did want to get your team rated by AI, you can scan the QR code on the screen or check the link in the description. It's completely free. It's kind of fun to do and see what AI thinks of your team, and yeah, let me know what you rate in the comment section below when you do it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.